Today I introduce you three Trans2care's researchers, Maura Barbisin from SISSA, Alessandro Baldan from the University of Ferrara, and Šulek from Valdoltra. I asked them about their research project and their past experience.
Hello everybody, my name is Maura Barbisin. I am a biologist and I had my doctorate degree here in Italy at the University of Trieste. And then after an experience as a biologist in a hospital, I went to Rome to the Istituto Superiore di Sanità, that is basically the Italian NIH, and I had an experience over there about HIV research. And then after that I was given the opportunity of going to the US, and in particular I went to California, to the Silicon Valley. And over there, I was involved in a 10 years experience in a biotech industry. One of the projects that I was involved in when I was in the US was the development of a kit that was used by all the police departments in the world and the FBI too, to detect human DNA, in particular in a sample that derived from sexual assault. Most of the time the big challenge of these samples is that the male DNA, the perpetrator DNA, is present in a very, very small amount compared to the female DNA. So the big challenge was trying to develop a kit that had that huge sensitivity and was able to detect male DNA in the presence of a huge excess of female DNA. So I was the R&D lead in that project, and I was able in about 18 months to go from the basic idea to the launch of the product. And this was a very nice and rewarding experience, I have to say. Also because this kit was then able to solve many cases that were not solved for many, many years, just because the tools were not available. So this was a nice and rewarding project just because you can see within a small time frame the results that your work can give to the real world. I was given the opportunity to go to the US, and in particular I went to California, to the Silicon Valley, and over there I worked in the biotech industry for 10 years. Then I came back to Italy exactly 1 year ago, and over here I was given the opportunity of working in the Trans2care network, and in particular the project that I have within this initiative is concerning basic neurobiology research. In particular, I work at SISSA at the Prion Lab Biology Lab. And I work on whole transcriptome analysis, and in particular about animal models of prion disease. If I have to say what are the differences between my experience in the US and the experience over here in the academia in Italy and in Europe in general, I have to say that probably the bigger difference is the connection that there is between basic research and industry. Over there in the US, all the students are approached by industry, especially during their PhD studies, and many times companies are funding the PhD programs. So once the students are done with their curriculum, they are already exposed to the industry, and so they have already an idea of where they would like to work when they're big. Whereas here, I think the gap between industry and basic research is really big still. So probably initiatives like Trans2care could actually fill this gap, and I hope this will be done pretty soon.
Hi, I'm Alessandro Baldan. I'm one of the 14 researchers of the Trans2care project. I'm a molecular biologist, have got a master's degree in genetic and molecular epidemiology, and presently a PhD student for the School of Doctorate in Translational Biomedicine. In the Trans2care, my project is about bone metabolism in lactose intolerance and thalassemia, specifically lactose intolerance in children and in patients with thalassemia major. In both cases, osteopenia and osteoporosis are main features of the disease. Specifically for lactose intolerance, we measure the bone mineral density, use an ultrasound apparatus bought with Trans2care funds, and we genotype all the patients to understand if there is a specific mutation in the lactose genes that can be linked to the development of the disease. About thalassemia, we are focusing our attention on a gene which is based on the literature on animal models and in vitro studies linked to the development of osteopenia and osteoporosis, and in some cases even muscle development problems. So far we are still enrolling subjects for our clinical study, both patients with thalassemia and healthy subjects. My research projects are carried out at the University of Ferrara in the pediatric department, where the head is Professor Caterina Borgna. I worked abroad in the UK and in France, and based on my experience there is a different approach of the institutions, university and private companies towards the role of researchers. There is more a sense of teamwork, so everyone is considered a co-worker and a valuable source of ideas and implementation of the entire project.
Hello to everyone. My name is Franja Šulek. I obtained my PhD last year in the field of nanotechnologies, and currently I work for the Valdoltra hospital. It's orthopedic hospital here just close to the border. I mean in Slovenia, and I'm working on protection of the prostheses. Well, I have the role as a researcher in this in the project Trans2care, so the trans-regional project, the cross-border project between Slovenia and Italia, and our hospital, the orthopedic hospital of Valdoltra, is actually one of the project partners. We are actually collaborating with the project partner PP8, so this is the University of Udine, and actually we would like to develop some kind of protection coatings for the orthopedic prostheses. So actually just from the beginnings of my studies I am practically involved in the research. I was also working in other countries, as in Italy and also in Netherlands. So I can say that that actually my experiences are very positive. Just when I was working abroad, and I can say that in the foreign countries, as for example in Netherlands or also in Italy, we were much more connected between us, especially among young researchers, as in Slovenia. This is perhaps the basic and the major difference between working in research in Slovenia and also in other countries.